Does anyone else remember the Eyetoy? It was a little camera you could hook up to your PlayStation 2. I remember it came with a game, Eyetoy Play, which was just a typical minigame collection game. But that wasn't the reason why I loved playing the Eyetoy so much as a kid. I loved its video maker feature. You could just simply make your own videos from around 30 seconds to a minute long. I remember distinctly loving using all the various different filters and making my own comedy skits with my friends. This was around 2007. YouTube was still pretty young and vlogs and comedy sketches dominated the platform. Shows like iCarly as well were a huge fixation of mine, and I just loved picking up the Eyetoy and pretending to be a YouTuber, vlogging my life and making comedy sketches. As time went on, my parents had gotten me another game for the Eyetoy. It was a sequel to Eyetoy Play, just called Eyetoy Play 2. This sequel was yet another minigame collection game. However, it had another feature to it. It was sort of a security feature meant to advertise another game for the Eyetoy called Eyetoy Spy. With this feature, you could use your Eyetoy as a security camera of sorts, and can even use it to make time-lapse footage. And this time-lapse feature is what really got my attention. This was also around the time I was starting to become more interested in animation, and I decided to use this time-lapse feature to hone in my stop-motion animation skills. I would use all the various toys and different objects around my room to make my own stop-motion movies. And I would even use myself from time to time, just dancing around the camera, making myself look like a Tim Burton character. I would laugh as my stuffed animals or myself would dance around the room like an idiot. It was all fun and games until one fateful day. It was a quiet and boring day, and like the bored teenager as I was, I looked for the nearest source of entertainment, my Eyetoy. I decided I wanted to make yet another stop-motion animation, but I didn't want to get out any of my toys, so I decided to just use myself. I put the game in my PS2 and started fiddling around with the time-lapse feature. Everything seemed normal at first as the camera snapped one photo after another, and I didn't really notice anything strange or out of the ordinary. That wasn't until I played back the time-lapse. It started as normal. I was just waving my arms around the camera, making silly faces, and moving around erratically. It wasn't until I was only a few seconds in that I saw it. It slowly faded into view. At first, it was just a pair of what looked like tiny, beady red eyes, and then the rest of it appeared. What it looked like, kind of like a cat of sorts. It was a smoky, fog-like creature with beady red eyes sitting right behind me, moving back and forth, almost deliberately. Like every time I took a picture of myself, it would move ever so slightly, almost like it wanted to be seen. And I was just stunned. I couldn't believe what I was watching. What it appeared to be some kind of spirit just waving itself around as I danced about the room. And as the time-lapse continued to play, it continued to dance itself about the camera, almost like it was dancing with me. And then eventually, it sunk below the camera, completely out of view, while steadily fading away. And I could do nothing but just sit there. My jaw was on the floor at what I had just seen. My tiny preteen mind spiraled with questions. What was that thing? Why was it in my room? What did it want from me? Was it just trying to say hello? Did it just want its presence to be known so that way people would know it existed? Nothing had made sense. Whatever it was that I had seen, it had to have meant something. And being the very curious preteen that I was, tried to recreate it. I was determined to capture what I had seen on film that very day for weeks. I would use the video feature and even the time-lapse feature to try and recreate or even capture the same spirit. But sadly, I never did. And much to my disappointment, I never was able to recapture what I had seen that day. No matter how hard I had tried, it just didn't want to show up again. And as anticlimactic as it sounds, I did eventually give up. Simply because A, I was just getting bored of everything and just wanted to move on with my life. And B, I didn't want to continue agging on whatever it is I saw. I had always been told to never, ever ag on a spirit or continue bringing attention to it. Otherwise, you would end up regretting it. My house has always had weird things happening within it, and I didn't want to be the contributor to that weird things. So, I dropped it. But I still can't help but to wonder whatever happened to the little ghost, and if it had ever moved on, if it even was a ghost.